What's going on, Show Nation? It's Movie with Movie Gaming TV, and in today's video I'm going to answer another very popular question that I get over on my Twitch stream. And you can watch the stream. I play a bunch of ranked seasons over there, twitch.tv/MovieGamingTV. We try to stream every night over there. So what is that question? That question is, Movie, who are some of your favorite pitchers to use in MLB The Show 21? So far I've been testing out as much as I can the pitchers that I like. I love pitching as well, and also on my channel I have a pitching tips video that can show you how to utilize these pitchers to their maximum effectiveness. So I'm going to go over my favorite pitchers, the ones that you should have on your roster when you can, and I'm going to share my opinion on these cards. So the best pitcher in the game right now is Pedro Martinez from the 42 series. Great four-seam fastball, great changeup, great slider, great sinker, and a great curveball. Good per nines, good motion. Everything is working with this card. I love Pedro Martinez in this game so far. He is my #1 starting pitcher based on my experience so far in ranked seasons and using him myself. My #2 starting pitcher right now is Tom Glavine. You get him from the NL East collection. So if you can collect all of the NL East, you'll pick them up. Sinker, circle change, the SCV, the slider, and the four-seam fastball. Good per nines, good control, good break on his pitches as well. Good motion. He comes in at #2 on our list. I like choosing Martinez just a little bit more than Glavine, and Glavine is more in this next tier of cards that I'm going to talk about. So our third best starter, and he's closer to Glavine really than you might think, is Luis Castillo from Team Affinity. So just shows you the power of Team Affinity. And it's also really cool that MLB The Show. So my #3 starter comes to us from Team Affinity. Yes, this card is free and he is fantastic. Luis Castillo with the circle change, the four-seam fastball, the sinker, and the slider. Great motion, has great control of that sinker. He is very, very dominant. That sinker is hard and that fastball is fast as well. Really recommend you get Luis Castillo. Now, Sixto Sanchez, he is a lot like Luis Castillo. He has the changeup, the sinker, the four-seam, the slider, and the curveball. He's a great pitcher as well, and you can get this card for free as well, also from Team Affinity. Just shows you the power of Team Affinity and how awesome it is that MLB The Show provides these amazing cards that you can grind out for free. In the #5 spot, I'm going to go with Shane Bieber for now, but I'm going to show you two more pitching cards that I think are fantastic for your starting rotation. I just like Shane Bieber's control. He's going to get an attribute boost too, because in real life he has been pitching phenomenal. He just has good control of all of his pitches. I like the four seam, the cutter, the slider, the changeup, the knuckle curve. I can just kind of traditionally pitch with him and have a lot of control, so I like to use Shane Bieber. I'm also a big fan of Justin Verlander in this game. He just has a lot of control on the four seam and the slider. I can mix in a 12-6. I like a 12-6 curveball, and I also like his changeup. I'm a fan of Justin Verlander if you need somebody else to throw into your rotation. I also like this Matthew Liberatore card as well. If you remember Nick Lodolo's prospect card from Stage 2 Team Affinity last year, he's kind of got that same kind of vibe. The sinker is very tough left on left. He's got the 12-6 curve, the changeup, and the slider. He's a good one to go after right now. Now, I haven't spoke on these two cards yet, Frank Tanana and Bob Feller. Frank Tanana really reminds me of like Lefty Grove or Hal Newhouser from last year. He throws a hard fastball, but this card honestly would not be that effective until you get up on Legend, and even then, I'm not so sure. You could use his per nines a little bit on Legend, you're gonna be able to get that speed boost, but he's really not one that I'm going after right now. I'm not gonna use, I've used him a couple times, I'm just not too wild about him. Now, Bob Feller isn't too bad either. The problem with Bob Feller is it's tough to spot the 12-6, the slider, and the changeup in the zone. So once your opponent kind of starts to sit on that fastball, he becomes easier to hit, but he's not bad either. He's really not that bad. He's got good per nines. He throws some gas. So Bob Feller is in the mix as well for starting pitcher. I haven't tried out this Roy Oswalt this year, but he's usually pretty consistent as one of the better pitchers early on. So give Roy Oswalt a shot if you'd like to as well. I might lab out this Clayton Kershaw. I've always liked using Clayton Kershaw throughout the years. He might be in the mix as well. I would avoid Jacob deGrom and Garrett Cole. They have really high overalls. They're great in real life, but in the game, they're not very good. Chris Sale has really good control. I think he's definitely someone that you can try out to use. I don't think he's that bad. Max Scherzer is kind of in between the two. He's not very good, but he's okay at the same time. Strasburg, I would not use personally. Bauer, I would not use personally. personally. Lefty Grove I would not use as well. This David Price seems like he would be very good, but when I used him, I got absolutely lit up. And also I've seen Cougs light this card up also when he was hitting. So I don't know. The jury's kind of out on this David Price, but I don't think he's very good. Now, Fernando Valenzuela, I had not used him yet. I have not faced him yet, so I really can't review him too much. I'll tell you this much. The screwball is different in MLB The Show 21. I don't know if it's because they have him now in the game and they wanted to rework it, but it just seems way tougher to hit. So he might be a little bit better, but the only thing is he doesn't have any horizontal movement, so I'm not too much of a fan of him. Now, Nolan Ryan is going to throw that gas, the 4-seam, the 2-seam, the 12-6, and the changeup for his off speed. He's usually very wild. This card would be more effective on Hall of Fame and on Legend because the pitch speed is going to matter a lot more on those difficulties. On All-Star, you might be able to square up the fastball and the 2-seam more. He just hasn't been as good as maybe he was a couple years ago. I would kind of more sell this card, but he's like in between being really good and not. Tom Seaver is another really good card, honestly, that I haven't tried, especially because I feel like we have a lack overall of pitching in the game. This would not be a bad card to try at all. Good per nines, 4-seam sinker, slider, 12-6, and a changeup. He can be really effective. You'd like to see him throw a lot faster, but he could be very effective. Felix Hernandez is not going to be that bad either to use in the game. The sinker, the 4-seam, the SCV, the changeup, and the slider. He'll be good for these first couple weeks. After that, he's probably going to get knocked around, but this is definitely a card that if you want to pick it up, it's okay. See, these cards that I'm reviewing here at the end, they are very expensive, and they also don't go towards any collections, so they're kind of like only if you're putting on tons of stubs or you've been able to flip to get tons of stubs that I really recommend that you go after them. That's why I have them at the end of the list and not really in my top 5. Now, I've faced Bob Gibson one time so far. For the first 2 innings, he kind of was doing his job, then I ended up knocking him all around the park. It's something about his motion that it's just never been that good. It looks maybe a little bit different, and you can actually see in his hand his grip on the pitch, so that's never good. That's never good. He kind of has this windup where he like twists his hand out, and when he does that, you can see his grip on the pitch, so you can kind of see what type of pitch it is if you're really paying attention. He's not too bad, but he's not that great either. But let me put it this way, I would use Bob Gibson way before Jacob deGrom and way before Garrett Cole. Let's talk about these 2 cards as well, Joe Musgrove and Nathan Eovaldi. So I've faced both of these cards and I've lit them up when I was hitting. If there was one I was going to choose, I would choose as Joe Musgrove because he's got good pitches. He's got a slider, a cutter, a curveball, a sinker, and a 4-seam. You'd like to see a changeup instead of the curveball, but still overall, he's not that bad. I think maybe I just had a good hitting day, but maybe he falls into that category that I talked about with David Price, where it seems like he's going to be really good, but then you get into the game and you just light him up. If you need some budget starting pitchers as well, I would recommend Corbin Burns and Aaron Savali. They're both very good. They're silvers right now. They have that sinker and cutter mix. But let's go ahead and talk about relief pitchers now. So Trevor Hoffman is one that I'm using right now. He does not throw a lot of gas, but he's very accurate. He's got that circle change, which can be effective late in games as your opponent's trying to hit some home runs to get back in the game, and that circle change, it just doesn't provide a lot of exit velocity. He has a 4-seam fastball you can throw on the inside. He has a cutter you can throw low and away. He has a slider, and he has a curveball. He's in my bullpen right now. Now, I do have this Billy Wagner card, but be warned, this Billy Wagner card is not that great of a Billy Wagner card. He does have the 4-seam, the slider, and the changeup, but he's not super dominant because his fastball is not over the top fast. This is kind of a later career Billy Wagner type of card. Good enough per nines. There's not enough lefties to go after besides him right now, so I have him in my rotation, and I've just traditionally liked Billy Wagner, but just know if you're going to pick this card up, it's not that amazing. Kenley Jansen is a great one to pick up right now, and he's not that expensive. He has the cutter, the slider, the changeup, and that 2-seam fastball is more like a sinker, so he's very effective to use right now. I do like Kenley Jansen a lot, and he's worth your stubs to pick up right now. I like this Jerry's Familiar card a lot as well. Sinker, slider, 4-seam fastball, and a splitter. His sinker goes over 100. Keep an eye on this card from buying. Just go and buy this like out of the market instead of trying to pull it in the space pack, but this is like a really really good card that I do recommend. Aroldis Chapman is the best left-handed reliever in the game. You need to make sure you save some stubs and pick this card up. He's got the four seam, the slider, the sinker, and the splitter. He's fantastic. Just go pick up Aroldis Chapman. He's so tough to hit left on left. Eric Gagne is pretty nice in the game right now. Four seam. He's got the Vulcan changeup. He's got the curveball that only goes 69 miles an hour, so it goes super slow. Good per nines at 95 to 125. Not the best Gagne we'll see all year, but still effective. He's even got a better motion this year. John Franco, nice as well. And John Franco was not that good in the game last year, and now he's a lot better. The screwball, the sinker, the slider, the four seam, and the circle. Remember I said the screwball is much better in this year's game, and I do recommend this John Franco card. He's been fantastic for me so far. So it's a new year for John Franco because that screwball is actually effective. The best relief pitcher in the game right now is Rich Gossage. He's got a new windup this year. He's got the four seam, the slurve, the sinker, and the changeup. He's got really good per nines. He throws gas on the four seam and the sinker. He's got the slurve and changeup to mix things up. And like I said, he's got a better motion this year. Highly recommend Rich Gossage, best relief pitcher in the game. Let's go through some other relief pitchers that I recommend quickly here. Dennis Eckersley. I would recommend Devin Williams as well. Kirby Yates isn't too bad. Rob Dibble is very effective as well. Lee Smith is effective as well. I like this Calvin Herrera card. You might not like him as much, but I actually really like using his card a lot. Brad Hand can be a good lefty if you need a lefty. Chris Martin can be effective as well. This is a pretty good card. Aaron Bummer, if you need another lefty, can be effective, as can Jake Diekman. Zach Britton can be effective as well. Adam Ottavino is very, very tough on righties. And even in the bronze category, Cody Hewer is really, really good for a 70 overall. Highly recommend him. He's got the outlier sinker. He's got the changeup and the slider. Very good card. And also, if you need another budget lefty, Garrett Crochet is excellent as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video on my favorite pitchers, the best pitchers in MLB The Show 21 right now. I hope you got some ideas of some cards that you would like to go after. I also reviewed my favorite cards that are hitters in the game today as well. I also reviewed the best live series diamonds. Those are on the channel as well. We've got hitting tips. We've got pitching tips as well. Make sure you check out the pitching tips video if you want to see how to pitch better with the cards that I recommended in this video. We've also got the best settings on the channel and a team affinity guide. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, peace out.